Her brother died on 9/11, a day America will never forget. Today marks the 11th anniversary of that horrible day, the images etched permanently in our minds. But for Kathi Talbot, it will always be the day she lost her little brother, a New York firefighter. And that's tonight's big story. 7 News reporter Scott Miller joins us live from Lawton's Fire Station number 5, home to a memorial honoring New York firefighter Peter Brennan. Scott?
When the Twin Towers collapsed that day, Peter Brennan wasn't supposed to be there. It was his day off. But a fellow New York City firefighter called him and asked him if he'd cover his shift. Peter said yes. His sister, who lives here in Lawton, was watching the events of that day unfold on television, just like everybody else in the country. And it didn't have to be that way. Peter Brennan could just have said no. But that wasn't who he was.
The brave men are walking or running into the buildings, to save you. That was him.
Kathi came to Lawton's Fire Station number 5 this morning to see the memorial for her little brother, so in her words, she could be with him.
I thank Chief Hadley for this. Once I gave him the flag and he said to me, "Where would you like me to hang it?" And I said, "Well, you're building the new firehouse. Could you hang it there?"
She's been by here, I think, on his birthday, those kinds of things. This is a place for her, since someplace locally where she can kind of remember her brother.
She didn't come to mourn, but to celebrate who he was and how he lived. In the days after the attack, who could forget those makeshift posters? Family members frantically searching for loved ones. This was Peter's. He was never found.
You want at least a ring or something from him. Anything. There's never closure on this. There will never be closure on this because every time you put the TV on, it's there.
Peter Brennan was just 29 years old. He and his wife, Erica, childhood sweethearts, had a daughter, Anna, Daddy's little girl. And Erica was pregnant, too. Gave birth to Connor, a son Peter Brennan would never know, 3 months after 9/11. Such a tragedy. So many people lost their lives. That awful day, some lost their will to live.
That's the day my father died. When he found out that his son died, I believe that's the day my father gave up. And he just died.
Kathi can't remember the name of Peter's friend, the man who could have been there in the South Tower when it collapsed instead of Peter. Who can understand the guilt he feels? But Kathi did her best to comfort him.
When we went for the memorial at the firehouse in Long Island, he came up to me and he said, "I'm so sorry." And I said, "There's nothing to be sorry about. It wasn't your time."
It wasn't his time. But time ran out for Peter Brennan on September 11th at 9:59 a.m. The nation watched in stunned silence. And Peter's sister Kathi here in Lawton watched with the rest of us. And even though she thought he wasn't supposed to be working that day, she feared the worst because her brother was a New York City firefighter, accustomed to running into buildings while everybody else was running out. Reporting live, I'm Scott Miller, 7 News.